Hello everyone, I'm Ashish and today I want to do a demonstration of the project predicting the life expectancy which I have done using machine learning and IBM cloud. So now I'll tell you how I did the entire project. So first of all we need to log into IBM cloud using our institution email address, okay, and then we have to go to catalog. Okay, if you go to catalog you have to search for first NodeRed app, okay, to click on it, and then you have to go to create, and we have to create this thing. Since I'm using a light account, I won't be able to create two instances of it. Okay, to just give the app name and the region. Now why when we're using the NodeRed, I'll tell you later. Okay, so after you set up the NodeRed, you again go to catalog, and this time you go to Cloud Foundry. Okay, Watson Studio, as well as machine learning. Watson machine learning. Watson machine learning. Watson machine learning. You have to set up all the three just the same way I told you. Just click on it, go to create, select a region and create. I won't be able to create because I'm using a light account. I won't be able to create two instances of it. I've already created my instances before. So after everything is done, you're gonna have the services like Watson machine learning, Watson Studios and NodeRed. Okay. After you set up all the three, we have to first go to Watson Studios. This is where we are doing the entire project. The first part of the project. We go to get started. So now we can create a project, a blank project. Since I've already created projects, you can see that my projects are listed below. I can create a project for you. Create an empty project. You can give any project name, a description, a cloud storage that will automatically be done. I'm going to create. I won't be creating it since I've already done it. So I'll go back. So now let's go on to predicting the life expectancy using machine learning. So now we have the assets here. Okay. So first of all, we need the data set. Now data set from where to get. If you click on the notebook, right, I have provided the link for the dataset. It's in Kaggle. It's just the 300 KB dataset. That's it. And it's a CSV file. So you have to click on new dataset and drag and drop the dataset here. So you will load the dataset into this thing. And notebook. You can click on new notebook and you can just provide the name, description for it. The runtime did be default. You can either make a blank one or you can import directly, or from URL you can do any three of them. I made a blank one because I had to do the project from start. So now once that is done, you can click on notebook. Okay, so if you click on notebook, I'll come to here. So now this is the project I've done. So now I'll go through it once. So first and foremost, you have to load some library. These are most important because you're working on this. So I have did random forest regressor in this because I did try to experiment with all the different things, but then random forest give the best results. So like if I go to life experiment, like I'll show you what different things are there. Okay, now first, okay, now let's come back to this thing. Now we have to set up certain things, like for suppose the IBM API key and IBM authentication endpoint. From where to get this? You have this thing here. Go to this thing, and you can see that the dataset is already loaded. You can go to insert to code and pandas data frame. This pandas data frame will give you this one, this set of code. This set of code loads your dataset as well. If you see, we have key is equals to life expectancy to data CSV, and this is in body. That's why if I go down and say live data is equals to PD to read CSV body, I'll get the data set. Okay, so let me close this. So now this is a data set. This has around 2938 rows and 22 columns. Okay. So now first of all what we do is that let's look at the data first. So this has country, life expectancy, adult mortality, infant deaths, and about 22 columns. Now We don't need few columns like uh, year, like this. Go up year as well as status, because this will not help us in any way. So we're gonna drop that. So we're gonna drop it. Okay, and now we have this function here which displays the first 5 rows. We can see that we have already dropped status and year. We don't have it. We don't have these two columns. Okay, so now what we're doing is just doing analysis of the data. We're just finding the country. We have the country and we are getting the mean. What is the mean value of all the rows for that country? Okay, and now we have this fill NA0. What is this thing? Now sometimes what we have is that when we load a dataset, it's not complete. There are certain parts that are not completed. So in the dataset, when you read it, it will be replaced by NA. That means the value is not present. So what does this fill NA do is that it fills it with 0. Okay, so see here, certain values are 0 in this place. That means we have filled the value with 0. Okay, so now we'll do analysis of the data. So that's why we use the SNS.pair plot. This SNS you're gonna have to import. Okay, and this is the pair plot. Now what is this? What's the meaning of this pair plot? This is actually plotting life expectancy against all the different variables that we have. Okay, so now I'll show you a short. Like this is a quite a difficult to understand. I'll just show you a short demo of it, of how it actually looks like. This I did as a part of experiment to see how different columns are performing with respect to different rows. So here, as we can see, life expectancy is compared to HIV. What does this mean? This means that as HIV is increasing, the life expectancy is decreasing, and that's pretty obvious because as the place is more disease, people will live up to less years. Same way for BMI. As the BMI is increasing, the life expectancy is increasing. But this is also most obvious. If people are more healthy, they will live for more age. And same for schooling. And this is percentage healthcare expenditure. Okay, so like this is this analysis of how different columns are related to life expectancy. Okay, so now I did a heat map of it. This is a correlation to show which points are positively correlated and which points are negatively correlated. Okay. So now I'm doing some pre-processing. So what I'm doing here, first of all, with life expectancy, I am taking it out of the column, out of the data set, and I'm storing it somewhere else because this is something we have to predict. Okay, and I have this life features here, which is storing everything except the life expectancy. So life features are storing every single thing that is except the life expectancy. See, if I print the life into the head, then that data the thing in which we have stored our data, so we can see that there is life expectancy, but in this we don't have life expectancy because we've removed it, we've dropped it, and life features are storing and life labels are storing the life expectancy. So now what we do, like I told before, we fill the values with 0. We can also fill it with something else, like we can fill it with the mean values. Okay. So what I'm doing is that I'm filling all the life features that is which contains everything the life expectancy. I'm filling those empty values with mean of the values, the entire row mean values, and same for labels. Okay. And now I'm doing this min max embedding the model with min max scalar. And now I'm having this train test split. What I'm doing is that I'm splitting the entire data set as train 70%, test 30%, and then I'm performing the uh, this random forest model. Okay, so what I'm doing is that first of all I'm fitting the model. So I have this train model. So like I'm giving the life expectancy as well as all the different features, and I'm getting the cross validation score of it. Okay, and then again I'm like here, where is it? For the train test split, the live features dot test and train labels after that I'm testing it. So I'm getting the R2 square of it. So the model performs pretty good in this. Okay, so this was the entire code that we did. So now let's see. So this is the first part of it, like running the code on the IBM cloud. Now the second part is integrating it with the NodeRed. Now what is NodeRed? If you go to nodred.org, right, we can see a description of what it is. If you see this introductory video, it explains it in a pretty good way. So what is NodeRed is just a programming tool for wiring together hardware devices, APIs, and online services in new and interesting ways. Okay, so let's go back to our code. So this was the code. So now deploying it on the IBM cloud. This is like we actually put integrating it with the NodeRed. So what I do first is that I just installed what's a machine learning client. and then I import the Watson machine learning API client. And then this is the WML credentials. That's Watson machine learning credentials. Now, from where to get this? Okay. If you go to catalog, right, or catalog, right, you have already done with the machine Watson machine learning. Okay, so you can go back to dashboard. You can go to services. You can go to Watson machine learning. And here you can get the credentials, service credentials. You can copy it, see saying it's copied, and you can paste it in. Okay, so once this thing is done, you can deployment, and so initializing, and then successfully deployed, and then we get the scoring endpoint. Now this is one of the most important things. This will be helpful in case of our NodeRed. Okay, so now how to start the NodeRed application? You can go back to the dashboard. You can go to apps. You have the NodeRed there. You can click on the app URL and it will open for you. Okay, go to your NodeRed flow editor. This will work only if you have set it up that NodeRed before. Okay. So now this is the second part of the project, setting up the NodeRed. What's happening is that the NodeRed is displaying the values which it is getting from the IBM Watson. Okay. So now remember I told you that this is one of the most important things. We're going to use this URL here. Okay. So now what are we doing here first? We have this form. Now first thing is that you have to go to this option, configure, manage, and then download NodeRed dashboard. Because unless you download NodeRed dashboard, you won't be able to use form here. Okay, so what is form? This is the first component. Now if you saw the data set right here that I've used here, you're having these various columns. Okay, so now these are inputs. Okay, so these inputs we need in this form: adult mortality, infant deaths, alcohol, percentage finisher, hepatitis B. So we are giving the inputs, and these are required because we want the user to give all these inputs. That's first thing. And now we have this pre-token. Now we have this API key here. Okay, so if you go back to this project, you have already imported the WML credentials. We have this API key and instance ID. Both will be useful. Okay, so first API key. I take the API key, I paste the API key here. So that's done. So now HTTP request. Now this one, you don't have to change anything here. Just see that the type is basic authentication. Nothing else changes required. Next is your send to endpoint. This requires your instance ID. So like I told, you have to get the instance ID from here and paste it here. So we can see that the different fields are here, and this is a message payload. Okay. This is your HTTP request, and here you have to put paste the URL. This URL scoring endpoint, you have to copy this URL, this entire one, and paste it here. This URL. This is one of the most important thing, and you cannot make a mistake here, or else this thing will not work. The deployment will not work. Now the message payload, and prediction, and get from endpoint. Nothing else changes are required. Every single thing is done. Okay. So we go to message payload. Nothing else is required. No else changes required. So now what we do? So once this thing is done, you can go to dashboard and you can change. Now this is the layout of the site. I'm saying, okay, you can change the theme, how your theme is gonna be. It could be a dark style or a color, and you can change the way your style is. Okay, that's just the front end UI how you want it. You can click on deploy here, and you can see that it's deployed. You can go and click this one, and this will open this page here. Now this values I've already put before. These are the same values which you will get from your this one, just the same thing. So if I click on submit, I'll get the prediction as 53.18. So like this is the prediction. Okay, so this is the entire working of the project, and as you can see, it's working. This basically required the integration of your NodeRed with your IBM Cloud. IBM Cloud is really helpful. You can do a lot of projects in it, and since this is free to use, you can make a lot of projects in it. Thank you.